So friends, we're painting these simple agapanthus today. Let's get to it. So I've got a beautiful purpley blue as well as a more reddish purple on my palette, and I'm taking a nice small but flat wash brush, and we're just going to make some really simple marks on our paper, kind of like a cross shape in a way, to make these little blooms. So these blooms are so interesting and unique because these florals are kind of a globe shape, and they have these tiny little purple blooms at the top, and then they have these really thin curved stems that all curve down and connect to that midpoint in the main stem. So we are trying to create that shape and add in the blooms randomly so they look natural. We're going to vary up the shades of purple as well. But usually before I start changing the shades of the color, I always like to start with that first layer, the first one, and kind of put that all around wherever I think it looks good. And then I'll bring in maybe a more saturated color and fill in some of the other spaces. I'm just always looking for a well-rounded composition. So here I've added in more of that reddish purple, and so we have a nice little contrast here. Of course, this one does have more paint to water ratio, and so because it's less transparent and more opaque, you can just see it a lot more. So now I'm switching to a number 2 round brush, and we're going to start connecting the green parts to this flower before we continue on with the next pieces. So in the middle here, there's a pretty straight little stem, but what I've noticed when you're observing this flower, these little stems, like I had said before, are starting to kind of curve. They curve around, curve in towards that main stem. And so as I'm connecting all these little blooms, I'm trying to kind of think about that. And that's going to create a more realistic look here. So these flowers are just absolutely gorgeous, and I think they're kind of funny as well to look at because, I don't know, they're just very different than the typical flower we think of, like that 5-petaled classic floral people like to paint or draw when they think of a flower. And so I am still using that thin brush and doing just a little bit of a stem here, and we're going to stop because we're going to switch back to our larger brush and our little flat one, and we're going to start in with the blooms for the second flower, or the little trumpet shape. They are trumpet shaped blooms, but because of our perspective, I'm just adding in not the entire thing. You can't see the whole trumpet. So this to me looks kind of like a cross shape, or some of them kind of look like V's as well. So we are doing some of those same shapes over and over here, starting with that light purple and then adding in the darker as well. And I wanted to take the opportunity to just draw attention to the book that I'm using. It's called The Flower Color Guide, and I will have it linked below. I love it so much because it gives you some really gorgeous photos to emulate or to use as inspiration. And these 2 simple flowers on this page just inspired me. I liked the colors. I wanted to add in a little bit of my own version or creativity. And so that's why I have the different shades of purple here that are, to me, are bringing everything together really nicely. And just, it's really fun, having a good time. So hopefully you are as well. If you like the video, remember to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on my videos in the future. We're just going to do the same thing, connecting all those little blooms together and making sure to arc those little stems and connect them to the main stem as well. So the great thing about the color guide, this flower color guide, is that on each page, there's sections and they're split up into color types. And so, for example, you have blooms at the beginning, all different types of flowers. On each page, you have the same type of flower, maybe 2 or 3, or a stem of a bunch if they're tiny. And it'll be in a certain type of color. So you'll have the white flowers, and then maybe the light pink flowers, and then the yellows. It just goes down through the colors of the rainbow, and it's just really inspiring. So I definitely suggest checking it out if you're interested, because it really makes painting just a lot more less stressful, because I don't have to think through, where am I going to get the photo? Where am I going to get my reference from? So these guys are coming together quite nicely. I hope you are enjoying this experience. I always like to tell you, as a mental health therapist, I focus on self-care. Take a deep breath, remind yourself this is fun. Find something beautiful that you like about your painting. Maybe you like everything. Maybe you only like one piece, even if it's just the color. Remind yourself and encourage yourself that as you use powerful positive affirmations. It's going to encourage you to keep painting and trying, because with every brush stroke, guys, you really do get better. So now I'm just going through quickly and putting in more saturated paint in the places that it looks like I might have missed something. Over here, that one was looking a little bit more boxy, but that's okay. Not everything is going to be perfect. We are trying to throw perfection out because there's no place for it in art. It just stresses us out and makes us angry and causes us to give up. Thank you for painting with me, you guys. A little splatter at the end. Happy painting to you, and happy mental health. See you soon.